So Bari Weiss is putting her mark on CBS, much to the chagrin of a lot of the staff at CBS, as we'll see. So she announced her big new town hall idea with this walk and talk.
Sat down for an hour with Erika Kirk and we talked about everything. We talked about what was going through her head when she stood on that stage and forgave her husband's alleged murderer. We talked about all of the conspiracies surrounding his assassination. And of course, we talked about grief, political violence, and so much more. Watch this.
Okay, so understand what the intention of something like this is. It's to communicate that Bari Weiss is a real reporter. That's what the walk and talk is. It's to, I'm a shoe leather reporter on the case, which, remember, Bari Weiss has never been a reporter in her entire career. She has only ever been an opinion writer. She has never been a journalist, but she is taking advantage of her position to act out her fantasy and cosplay as a
Saturday
journalist.
Night on CBS at 8 p.m.
Okay, so some of the actual journalists didn't take too kindly to this. CBS News staffers rip shallow Bari Weiss for moderating absurd network town hall with Erika Kirk. How embarrassing, one network staffer told The Independent. Barry's been editor-in-chief for 5 seconds and has revealed that all she really wants is to be on TV herself. Remember, editor-in-chiefs don't normally do this. They don't normally appear in front of camera this way.
Right.
So here are some of the questions you had to answer to come to this town hall and be in the audience. Which religious figures or leaders do you most admire? Are you grieving the loss of a loved one? If so, please share who and how you're coping with your grief. Would you describe yourself as evangelical? If so, why? So that was a completely natural audience with a mix of opinions that they had in there for that town hall, not controlled at all. So in the lead up to this, Bari Weiss said something that's very revealing of why she's been hired in the first place and why she'd be having Erika Kirk on. Very revealing of why Larry Ellison installed somebody who's completely unqualified to be in that position. She's very qualified for what he wants, which is, and this is very much the Zionist project. They really, really, really want to tie right-wing conservatives to a Zionist agenda and to a censorship agenda. They have, from day one, they have been trying to make it woke to not share Zionist opinions and to not want to suppress speech. They have been desperately trying to tie those things together. Bari Weiss has been hired to do that. Having Erika Kirk on this way is part of that agenda.
Murdered 3 months ago. If you go on the internet, and frankly, it has leapt beyond the internet now into real life, and you talk to many seemingly sane people, they do not believe that the 22-year-old named Tyler Robinson that has been arrested and charged with his murder is the actual murderer.
Who did they think? Yeah.
They believe any number of theories. They believe that Erika Kirk was his Mossad handler and that he was killed by a foreign government. They believed that she was tracked by Egyptian planes. They believe that the rings on her hand are signs of Illuminati. The theories themselves are absurd. What matters is that, because she speaks about this in the interview, the brain rot that social media is allowing to spread, the way that it is detaching us from humanity, from our ability to talk to one another and our ability to discern the truth from just out and out lies, is something that is incredibly important as a theme, I think.
That's what
I am looking forward to Bari Weiss's segment where she calls out Fat Randy Fine for calling for the elimination of all Muslims.
Right.
Seems pretty dehumanizing and hateful to me. Owen Schroyer. So now they want to use Charlie's name to push censorship. Unbelievable. And this is who has the big town hall with Erika tonight. Also, who has benefited greatly during this administration via Ellison. Zaid Jilani. Zaid Jilani, man, he's I don't know, man. We're gonna have to start calling him right wing adjacent. This is the second time he's come up tonight in agreement with some people on the right. Now that a billionaire who shares her parochial interests hired her back into mainstream media, she no longer has to pretend to be in favor of alternative and independent media. Exactly. Of course, I'm joking. You know what? Lobotomy victim, former reporter, current bottom bitch to a dry drunk, Matt Taibbi, assured us that everyone complaining about Bari Weiss taking over CBS News was a jealous loser. It was like a spaniel expecting their master to cut everything into bits. She was the plucky independent media person who was going to bring a newfangled independent media sheen to CBS. Doesn't really look like it's working out that way. It looks like she's using her platform to call for censorship, something that Matt used to care a lot about. Not so much lately. I guess every time he tries to speak on those things, Walter puts him down at the bottom of the well and he gets the hose again. 25 posts in 3 days from CBS featuring Bari Weiss with Erika Kirk, or maybe Erika Kirk with Bari Weiss. It's hard to tell who was supposed to be the one featured in all this. Yeah, very good point. And this includes a video, if anyone wants to look it up, of all those 25 posts they put up. Clint Russell here. So to get into some of the actual clips, I've never bought the Erika is Mossad arguments, but having a likely Mossad asset like Bari ask her this question makes me wonder. Also, this entire interview is a disaster. So scripted and fake. TPUSA is in trouble. Just the truth. Yes. Let's take a look.
And yet there are a huge number of conspiracy theories, you might call them brain rot, that are spreading right now online about the actual story behind the reality. One, people say that Tyler Robinson was actually a MAGA Republican. Or two, some people say you were actually a Mossad agent sitting in front of me, and you were Charlie's handler, and Israel killed Charlie.
Right.
Other people say that a number of men in the crowd were wearing maroon T-shirts, and this signifies that his killing was an elite airborne operation, whatever that means. They say that the rings on your fingers, which are
my kids'
initials,
my wedding band, the Medal of Freedom, my engagement ring.
But apparently they symbolize some kind of secret plot. There's also a new theory that Egyptian aircraft have been tracking you.
Mm-hmm.
What is going on? Why are there so many conspiracies spreading about what seems to be a pretty open and shut case?
This is the first time that we have seen evil on display where we have social media at our fingertips. Something so evil that happened, people are wanting answers immediately. They are wanting to figure out how to wrap their mind around this. Egyptian planes.
Egyptian planes. Do you believe that Tyler Robinson murdered your husband?
Yes, I do.
Why do you think it is so hard for so many people to believe that reality?
Because it's too simple. Again, everyone always has to think there's more to the story. Well, sometimes there's not. I've seen the autopsy report. I've seen our case pulled together. I've been in constant contact with our lawyers, the prosecuting team. I've seen it all. Again, everyone.
Okay, so this is part of the problem that they're having. The fact that there are so many points in the official narrative that are absolutely absurd, from Charlie's adamantium neck bone to the idea that two 21st century gay kids write like they just stepped out of the 1920s. Nobody's buying it. This is why Turning Point USA is in trouble. Nobody's buying it. For anyone who gets mad when Erika Kirk gets questioned, F you and your mom and your sister and your dog. She's been caught lying. Spare me the news. And here's what they mean in this particular case.
Again, everyone always has to think there's more to the story. Well, sometimes there's not. I've seen the autopsy report. I've seen our case pulled together.
What did she say?
I've seen the autopsy report.
So I did do the request. They emailed me back. He did not go in for an autopsy. The death certificate was signed by the doctor at the hospital.
Oh, okay. Can you just do a field clip documenting that?
I'm sorry, 10-9?
Can you just add a step to the case documenting that there was no autopsy?
This is insane.
Yeah, and that is one of many things, because the official narrative is really indefensible. You start defending the official narrative, you're going to start running up against a lot of contradictory facts. This is another clip that made the rounds of Erika Kirk claiming that Charlie was fiercely loyal to Israel.
Charlie always would say very clearly, Jew hate was brain rot. He would always say it. We've been to Israel twice together. And to be able to walk in the place where our Lord walked and see the Bible come to life in Technicolor, how could you hate that place? How could you hate the Jewish people? Why? Because you need to fulfill a conspiracy theory? I'm wrapped in, people say I'm a part of conspiracy theories all the time. It's sick, and it needs to stop. We are human. No one is perfect. No Christian is perfect. No Jew is perfect. No Muslim is perfect. We are broken, sinful humans in need of a Lord and Savior. And that's why it is so important to give your life to the Lord. Because once you do that and you fully surrender to the Lord, you have no room in your heart for hate. And so, sir, I am so sorry what happened to your daughter. I pray that does not happen, and I pray that that is something that we can somehow extinguish in this world. But we are living in enemy-occupied territory, and every single day we need to guard ourselves, guard our minds, guard our heart, and the best way to do that is reading God's Word. And you cannot separate the Old Testament from the New Testament. You cannot.
I'm sorry, you do it very quickly. Bari Weiss is such a degenerate, low-life, bottom-feeding whore that she would bring two victims together to do basically a propaganda clip for Israel. Right, yes. The one guy who lost his daughter, and then the woman who lost her husband. I mean, the fact that she's sitting there on stage for it too, as the supposed editor-in-chief of centrist news. I mean, it is so immediately discrediting.
Well, this follows her major scoop on David Portnoy getting yelled at on the street.
Yeah.
Somebody who has said horrific things himself, although her crackerjack journalism didn't manage to uncover that.
Even the leading questions that she asked to Erika. What about the Egyptian planes? What about the?
Of course.
Of course. What a piece of shit.
Well, she's
a disgrace to the Weiss name. Is what she is.
Should we tell people she's your sixth cousin now?
That's great. Yeah.
Your sixth cousin. Some people have pointed out here that the record really doesn't support what Erika is saying. Not that over the course of his career, he was not an Israel supporter, but you're kind of leaving out a major part of the story by not mentioning these texts, for example. Just lost another huge Jewish donor. $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Ugh, the response. Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. I'm sorry, you cannot go on a stage and pretend that there's no complexity at all to this story, that Charlie was just an uncomplicated devotee of Israel and Zionism right to the end, no mitigating factors. That's BS. And even if you don't want to get into that, you can take a look at this. His views were always a little more complicated than she's making out there.
And Jewish donors, they have a lot of explaining to do, a lot of decoupling to do, because Jewish donors have been the number one funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies, cultural institutions, and nonprofits. This is a beast created by secular Jews. And now it's coming for Jews, and they're like, what on earth happened? And it's not just the colleges. It's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it. It's like time for you guys to wake up and say no more, draw a line in the sand. I don't care if you hate me.
Erika,
All right. So this is something that I've been saying for a very long time, that we've both been saying, I think. Part of the problem that they're having with an organization like TPUSA, trying to convert everybody over to Zionism, is that a lot of people within that movement are essentially anti-Semitic. You know, what Charlie Kirk is saying there, that is a classic anti-Semitic trope, that Jews are pornographers and they're behind all of vice and sin, and that's what they put their money into, encouraging degeneracy. I mean, this is a very old stereotype. I mean, it was core to the Nazi view of world Jewry and predating the Nazis. You can't play footsie with that and then tell everybody you have to be an Israel supporter. Those two things don't work together. And as you can see from that clip, Charlie played that game too. He played that game too. And that's part of why they can't corral all these people into the fence. You see it all the time now. I mean, as two Jews who cover this, cover Israel very, very critically, we draw in a lot of those people. Not as many as we used to since we had our whole Darryl Cooper thing, but we still draw in some of those people.
We're drawing enough to keep the lights on around here.
We do, yeah. We show up every now and then at the Stormfront bingo parlor, and have to keep around. And very often they will conflate that. They'll conflate. See, Charlie's trying to separate those two things, but I think it's very common on the right. I mean, I know it's very common to put Zionism and that together. It's all symptomatic of the degeneracy of Jews, right? They run Hollywood and they murder Palestinians, right? So trying to split those things up, if you're going to traffic in the one trope and say, no, not that trope, that doesn't work.
I mean, they do run Hollywood and murder Palestinians.
Well, they do.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, granted.
Touche.
Granted.
Yeah, granted.
Yeah. I'll give you that. I'll give you that, Adolf. I hate that movie. God with the wind. It's awful.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in their in maybe the most cringe moment of the evening, you want to talk about a dirty whore. So Bari Weiss gets the guy who asked Charlie the last question he ever got asked before his assassination.
Yeah, she's just a disgrace.
To ask Erika Kirk to denounce Donald Trump.
Erika, as you know, the last person that Charlie ever spoke to was a Utah Valley student named Hunter Kozak. He was asking Charlie a question that day when he was shot, and he's here tonight, and he wants to ask you a question.
Hi there. Erika, I want to tell you how much I appreciate your calls for peace and unity, and I'm likewise horrified by the people in my so-called camp who were cheering about Charlie's murder. I believe that they stoke the flames of violence. But even worse is when powerful, influential people on either side of the aisle stoke the flames. When they do it, the flames can become an inferno. And this leads me to Donald Trump, the most powerful and influential person on earth, who has more responsibility than anyone else to put the flames out. Just last month, President Trump called on 6 Democratic lawmakers to be tried for sedition, which he clarified was punishable by death. He then reposted a simple message: hang them. I think that you've been making strides to bring peace to our country, and that Turning Point has been asking Democrats to decry the individuals who cheer for violence. I have and will continue to decry them. But any good faith effort to stop political violence must hold both parties to the same standard and expectation. So in that spirit, will you condemn the violent rhetoric of Donald Trump, the most powerful and influential person on earth?
I appreciate your question. You know my heart. Why would I ever say, yes, go murder people? This is so much deeper than just one. I understand your sentiment. I do. But this is also so much deeper than just one person. This starts at the home, okay? This starts with family. This starts with a seed that grows and grows. You can choose to have evil in your heart, or you can choose to have light. What you consume and what you absorb from the outside world will manifest itself. No, I will never agree with political violence. My husband is a victim of it. I'm a victim of it. But what I'm trying to say here is that we can blame everyone else. We have to look in the mirror. When you become a father, when you become a mother, how are you raising your kids? Are you taking responsibility, or are you giving them a device and saying, go down that rabbit hole? I'm trying to go to Pilates class. You can just sit in the corner and look at your iPad or look at your phone and go down that rabbit hole and see what you can learn from that instead of being a parent. So my call to action from that is, parents, step up. Do you want your kid to be a thought leader or an assassin? That's where we're at.
Do you think our political leaders have a responsibility to turn the temperature down right now?
Well, I think everyone has a responsibility to do that, and I'm doing my part. I'm not in control of other people.
I almost can't even watch this. I mean, it's just so incredibly distasteful for Bari Weiss to be like, I know, let's get the guy who asked Charlie the question to challenge her on this. Like, it's so clear. I mean, you talk about like exploitation. I mean, it is just absolutely shameless.
The whole thing was a shameless series of disgraceful stunts. However, part of what makes it less cringe in the way that it might is I haven't seen anything from this where I didn't feel Erika Kirk was complicit in this, that they weren't both using each other. In fact, Michael Tracy, this town hall was so bad, Michael Tracy has the first good take here he's had in like a year. Everyone got mad at the Charlie Kirk, George Floyd comparisons, but another striking similarity is the endless mandatory national conversation led by activist grievers who just happen to be extremely crafty at soliciting donations for God knows what. Boom. Boom. That was a very good take from Mr. Tracy there. Yeah, they're both grifters. It's two grifters grifting on the same stage. Yeah, what Bari Weiss did was disgraceful, but you never see Erika Kirk react as if it's disgraceful. She reacts like they discussed this series of stunts, and they both wanted to have these very big TV moments that would go viral, both for their own ends. I think they were both complicit in the nature of this town hall. And in the end, they both work for the same people. Whatever the reason for that is, we'll get into that more in the second half. Yeah, man. You know, one of the tweets we featured mentions, you know, they got that Ellison money coming in. You got all these Zionists now have essentially taken over TPUSA. Bari Weiss is certainly working for Israel absolutely before working for Ellison. That's why Ellison gave her this job. They both have the same boss, and they're both doing the same job, shutting down honest conversation about how absolutely fucking absurd the official narrative is about the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and trying to tie right-wing conservatism to fanatical Zionism. And given some of these speculations around what happened to Charlie Kirk, there's a lot of overlap between those two objectives. So they're both doing the job. They're both working for the same people. And I never saw a reaction from Erika Kirk that suggests she didn't know all that was coming and sign off on it.
Do we know that, or are you just saying it seemed that way? I mean,
It definitely seemed that way. Let me just finish, and then we'll get to the thing. All right. So how did that work out for CBS? Big advertisers appear wary of CBS News's Bari Weiss town hall format. Wonder why that would be. The news special aired at 8 p.m. on Saturday, one of the least watched hours in broadcast TV, and that may have contributed to a relative dearth of top advertisers appearing to support the show. During the hour, commercial breaks were largely filled with spots from direct response advertisers, including the dietary supplement Super Beats, the home repair service homeserve.com, and Carfax, a supplier of auto ownership data. Viewers of the telecast on WCBS, CBS's flagship station in New York, even saw a commercial for Chia Pet, the terracotta figure that sprouts plant life after a few weeks. Dude, I have not seen a Chia Pet commercial like since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Do they still have that jingle? Chia.
I guess so.
They still do that?
I mean, how can you sell one of those without the jingle?
Exactly. Direct response advertisers typically pay lower prices in exchange for allowing TV networks to put their commercials on air when convenience allows. A flurry of the ads appearing in one program usually offers a signal that the network could not line up more mainstream support for the content it chose to air. Okay, so yeah. So that's it. That was my read. I mean, it seemed like two people using each other for their own objectives and for overlapping objectives. It seems to me that if you sprung on somebody, the guy who asked your deceased husband, your assassinated husband, the last question he ever answered, you might have something more of a reaction than she had. Of course, I can't know that, but that's how it reads to me.
Yeah, I mean, I can't read into that as much. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Was she supposed to say, "How dare you, how dare you sandbag me with this"? I know they pre-screen the questions.
Physicality.
I don't know if I believe they pre-screen the questions, didn't they? I thought I saw something like that. Obviously, they knew they were calling on that guy. They flew him out, right? He was the guy who asked the question, right? So,
I don't think. I mean, just in terms of the basic burning bridges, like I don't think Bari Weiss would have done that without telling her she was going to do it, and her reaction didn't read like she didn't know that was coming.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's fair. It's I don't know for sure, but yeah, I mean, look, obviously, the whole construct of this was to look. This is all to build momentum for the Turning Point Fest, right? The AmFest,
AmFest, yeah.
When is the AmFest happening? It's this week, right?
It's like right after the big. I don't know if the answering the Candace questions is still happening, given that they're having this summit. I don't know about that, but yeah, the AmFest is like after.
They timed that for AmFest. It seems like a big run up to that, right? I mean, that seems like what it was, but yeah, I mean, it's just to me. I mean, that is just. I had not seen any of those clips. I knew they were out there. I saw the screenshots of them and the summaries of them. But yeah, man, I mean, it's so shameless for Bari Weiss to appear on camera for that. Like you said, it's weird for the editor-in-chief to even appear on camera anyway.
Right.
You're talking about how you're bringing, centrism and credibility back to the, this old news institution. And then you do a thing like that. It's so embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. But, that just shows you how in the bubble she is. I mean, and that's how in the bubble all of these hardcore Zionists are. They're not used to hearing anything other than what they want to hear.
Yeah, and when you look at the feedback this got, I mean, I haven't seen any positive perspective on this at all. It's just clearly there is no audience for a free press version of CBS. There was no audience for the free press. There still is not. We again and again, we have shown it. Other people have shown it. Their view counts are shit. We do better than the free press. Who are we? Who know these people are famous and they can't get people to read their shit or watch their videos. What did you think was going to happen? It's not like that was a successful model. The free press was financially successful in the sense that it was peddling narratives that oligarchs want out there. So they were able to get funding from people like Mark Andreessen to keep it going. It wasn't successful in terms of people wanting to consume it. So now she's turning CBS into the free press. This is like the free press with more money. This is the kind of thing the free press would do. And people didn't want it when it was the free press. They're certainly not going to want it with CBS. All you're doing with this is losing the libs who watched CBS.
Right. Exactly.
Please clap.